part of the plan.
People don't like you for being yourself.
If I was a dealer, you'd be dead by now. They build jails because of me. Judges.
What's wrong with street judges?
Oh, what? Just let the animals wipe themselves out.
God willing.
It can't be like this. Open your eyes. Can't you see?
Police, we got a search warrant.
What's going on, YouTube? We back in the Low Key Cave, Keyshawn Nam's YouTube page, aka Mr. Low Key, and we are back with another retro movie review. This time we got Training Day 2002, starring Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke. Anybody not familiar with Training Day, as far as plot-wise, what you should be, classic movie, quotable movie, one of the movies with some of the best quotes coming from Denzel Washington. I think he improv the whole King Kong line. But anyway, man, overall, you are dealing with a veteran cop who's bringing in another cop, as far as Ethan Hawke's character, Jake, who's trying to become a detective. Only thing is, he's trying to figure out, is being a detective really this crazy? Is doing these certain activities really about this life? Well, dealing with the detective he dealing with as far as Alonzo, you never know. One thing I gotta say as far as Denzel Washington's performance in this movie is that the whole thing with the Oscars and him winning an Oscar by playing a bad guy, I mean, yes, he was definitely worthy of winning that Oscar because this performance is like one of the best performances he's ever had as far as his movie career. But overall, he definitely had performances before this that he should have won an Oscar for. I feel like one of his best performances is The Hurricane. Definitely feel like he should have won something for that. But I know a lot of controversy was surrounding the fact that he had won for playing a bad person, basically playing a villain. But anyway, man, this performance is one of his best performances. I mean, the fact that this came out in 2002 and it's 2023 and people are still quoting this movie to the day, I'm just saying maybe we was wrong. And I ain't gonna necessarily say even we, because I didn't never necessarily have a preference at that time because I hadn't even seen certain movies from him outside of this, between like Virtuosity and certain other films. But I watched Hurricane and those other movies like Glory later on, which I feel like he had an outstanding performance in. But as far as Training Day, man, just overall his characteristics and the fact that I was one of the people that no matter what he was doing in this movie, I didn't care. Ethan Hawke, man, look, shout out to Ethan Hawke, bro. Shout out to Jake, but nigga, I didn't care. I was about Alonzo, and I felt like Alonzo could not do no wrong. I feel like Alonzo was playing an undercover cop. I just didn't feel like he was a villain. All the way up until the end, I couldn't take Denzel Washington being a villain. I feel like it's something else going on. It's some type of play behind this. There's some type of mystery behind this. No, this nigga was just straight evil. Alonzo, Denzel Washington in this movie was just straight evil. But outside of that, man, it's the whole thing with the, the manipulation play. The whole thing with him basically getting Jake to do whatever he wants him to do because he know how bad he wants to become a detective. But not only that, it's the whole play with him setting him up basically just in case you don't want to go along with the flow. I got these other guys who came along and they with it. But if you don't want to go along with it, then, hey, I got something else I can do for you. So it's the whole thing with the manipulation. The fact that if Jake was to pretty much say that, oh, this guy's doing this in the third, well, go give him a drug test and we'll see who they going to listen to. Me being clean and you the fact that you've been smoking all day or whatever. Once again, the manipulation from Alonzo. But you got to give credit to do as far as Jake and him able to maneuver in certain situations with dare or die situations, especially the whole bathroom situations dealing with the Mexicans and the fact that this could have been over. Because once Alonzo realizes that, okay, Jake is not rolling with this. Jake ain't with this. He making this play to get him up out of here. because he know he done did everything. The fact that he shot old buddy, that he introduced him as far as his informant, but he was coming off as this guy that he had some kind of relationship with as far as his friend. But in the words of Alonzo, he was just playing him. But yeah, it's the whole thing with Alonzo, the opening scene, the 6'4", all of that, and the fact that, once again, it's the whole West Coast vibe of the movie, and what he was doing with the Dr. Dre in the background. Shout out to Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and they cameos. Snoop Dogg did his thing as far as his performance and his acting. Dr. Dre was something else, but hey, I went along with it. Especially standing beside Denzel and trying to do that. And if I'm mistaken, y'all can let me know if I'm wrong, it was some improv between him and Snoop in that scene or whatever, from both of them as far as him and Snoop. But outside of that, man, definitely probably one of the best endings. Just the whole setup with Alonzo feeling like he had got away with this situation, because Alonzo got a lot of other shit going on outside of him doing what he doing with Jake, because his whole play for today is not the whole thing with him trying to recruit Jake outside of him being the detective, but trying to recruit him as far as his whole thing with this crew he got doing what they doing outside of the law, with him being the law. But the whole thing with Alonzo dealing with some Russians that he had a situation with in Vegas that he got to pay back. So now you got your boy Jake, who done seen everything Alonzo done pretty much been doing, done seen his play. But not only that, it's the whole thing with him coming into the neighborhood and seeing how Alonzo pretty much got this stranglehold on people. Because it's not a whole thing with him looking out for people. It's more so of that whole thing with that manipulation. And Jake can see that too. And that's what he uses as far as the neighborhood and getting them to turn on Alonzo. But once again, when one of the classic and most memorable scenes as far as the dialogue from Denzel Washington at the end of this. Hey, Jake, I'm going to get that money. Once again, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. You know all the lines, man. But like I said, I was still holding out hope that it's something going on with this. Lonzo ain't the bad guy. It's something going on. Even at this moment, all the way up until the point where he got shot pretty much by the Russians as far as Lonzo. But I ain't gonna front, man. Once again, even when Ethan Hawke supposed to be our like protagonist, our good guy we supposed to be rooting for, I wasn't. I was with Alonzo, man. And I'm not saying I was with Alonzo and his schemes and what he was doing. I was just thinking that, okay, something else going on. He trying to really show Jake that I ain't got no explanation. I ain't got no explanation, man. I didn't want Denzel Washington to be a bad guy. I ain't gonna front, because I ain't never seen him play a bad guy. But like I said, man, outstanding performance, man. Everything he did with this role. And like I said, even with the movie, I was manipulated myself, because once again, I didn't want Alonzo to be the bad guy. I feel like it was something else going on. But you should have knew something wasn't right when they came into the neighborhood and he greeting everybody, and once they walked past, everybody was like, can't stand this motherfucker. So I'm like, oh yeah, something ain't right with this nigga. And the whole thing, even at the end, where he doing the whole play with Jake come in and pretty much confront him, and he using his own son kind of on some Nino Brown shit. Like, this nigga was on some Nino Brown shit. You remember when Nino used the kid as the shield when he was getting shot at? That's pretty much what he was trying to do, because he was just trying to get out of there so he could play back them Russians. He wasn't, at this point, Alonzo not even worrying about Jake pretty much turning him in or whatever. He's trying to pay these Russians so he don't get killed. But yeah, once again, man, this is definitely one of a classic film, one of my favorite movies as far as Denzel. Like I said, the whole thing with him playing a bad guy actually winning the Oscar, that's a whole different story. But this is still one of the most memorable performances he has. One of those performances everybody likes to go back to. It is. Like I said, I'm one of the ones that feel like Hurricane should have been the one he won for. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he win one for supporting actor for Glory? I could be wrong. Or was that Morgan Freeman? Like I said, I could be wrong, but I think he did. But outside of that, man, y'all let me know how y'all feel as far as the classic film Training Day. And if y'all feel how I feel as far as the performance of Alonzo, did y'all, for your first time watching this, did you feel like Alonzo was not a villain? No, everything that was going on leading up to the end, did you feel like it was something else still going on? Maybe it was some type of manipulation, or he was really trying to help Jake, but he was just showing him how grimy you have to be to stay in this job. I know. Ain't no excuses for Alonzo. I'm just saying though, man, y'all let me know if y'all got manipulated by Alonzo too when y'all first watched this. But anyway, like I said, man, shout out to the soundtrack. Antoine Fuqua, the director, but David Ayer. One thing else I gotta say about him as far as the writer, that nigga was trying to make a Training Day movie ever since he did this movie. I don't know if y'all ever seen Harsh Times with Christian Bale. I don't know if y'all seen Tax Collector with Shia LaBeouf and him. He got some other films, but whenever he got a film, especially with the setting of California, gang culture, all of that is going to come into play when it comes from David Ayer. I'm just saying, man, but he got some other films outside of that, like Fury with Brad Pitt and them. I'm just saying he got something that he has with wanting to always do this play. And it's always kind of a setup, too, like Training Day. If anybody ever seen those movies, I just say it as far as Harsh Times, Tax Collector, and it's some more from David Ayer, then y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, y'all let me know how y'all feel as far as the classic movie Training Day. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're not, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell, let you know when I upload new videos. Other than that, we out.